all right, you guys, how's it going? This is Professor Vitt. This is the syllabus video. I'm going to give you a 50,000 square foot or 50,000 feet eyes view of the course. And hopefully that'll give you some idea what the course will be like and what we'll be doing. So this is our first cover page, right? This is Philosophy 11. It's being offered through Long Beach City College, and the name of the course is Critical Thinking. If you take a second and you look at this nutty little picture we've got, it's sort of thought, I guess, that it sort of shows you that the ability of the human mind is vast, right? We can conceive of all different kinds of things, nebulous gases thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of light years away. We can think about the most complex processes in nature, those things that govern geologic time versus, organic vegetation and so forth. And, the sky is the limit when it comes to your mind. And I think education generally is a really positive thing. I think it's a really enriching thing. There's no other force in this society that equitizes and enriches people as much as education. Just a quick side note about me. I used to be an attorney. I'm technically still an attorney. I just don't practice. I'm not active. And I had the really good fortune to be able to come back to philosophy full time and teach. And I love what I do. So when you guys come to email me, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know, right? I absolutely love my job. I'm teaching in the summer because I love it, not because I'm got to, but because I genuinely prefer doing it. If I won the lottery, I would just stay. Everything would be the same. I'd probably just move closer to campus, right? Now, that much being said, that was kind of my journey in terms of education, but everybody has a different one. And your goal may be just to get through this course so that you can get that mark so you can get into nursing or, rad tech or whatever it is you're going to be moving into. I'm here to help you do that. Front picture, yay reason, yay human mind, go education. The governing quote for the course is from Jose Vasconcelos. I'm saying the name wrong, I'm sure. I'm indebted to Professor Roberto Garcia for giving me a more full translation of his super famous quote. And essentially the idea here, Jose Vasconcelos was a presidential candidate for Mexico in the early 20th century. He also served a variety of governmental posts, including Secretary of Education. But essentially what he's saying is, look, education, books, those things lift us out of a sort of ignorant cruelty that we all live with, right? Because books allow us to use our mind and to reason. And when we don't use our minds and reason, we're just driven by our passions and our prejudices. We're not actually taking time to stop and reflect upon what we're doing. And essentially that's what we're going to try and get out of in this class. The best person at fooling you is actually you, not anyone else. And the goal to some extent is to get you out of fooling yourself for this class. And if everyone in this country had to take a course in critical thinking, I think the world would be a better place. Most of your grade will be 7 quizzes. Now, they're really exams, and I have them labeled exam 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah, 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 blah. They're not every week, but they are more or less every week. They probably average out to that. You also have so the bulk of what you do will be taking these exams and answering multi-state questions. Another component of your grade will be this Roswell paper. We'll talk about Roswell. It had to do with aliens and so forth. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we have it coming up. There'll be a little slide in a second. It's going to be roughly 4 to 5 pages regarding argumentation and Roswell. You will also have a presentation, which will be due August the 12th, and that'll be worth 15% of your grade. So 30% of your grade comes down to 2 projects, and the rest relies upon regular, consistent effort on your part on those multi-state exams. Another quote is from Mary Wollstonecraft. a brilliant thinker. The being cannot be termed rational or virtuous who obeys any authority but that of reason. And you should see a little parallel here with Vasconcelos, where he's talking. The general idea is, look, you need to have a reflective life. You need to think about what you're doing rather than just do it, right? For generations and generations, people on this planet did things that were dumb. And to some large extent, it had to do with the fact that they'd always done them, and it was convention. But also they didn't give them a great deal of thought, at least not the sort that we would like to have. At least not the sort that we're going to learn in this course. And so the idea is we need to make a shift from our own impulses to reason. And that's to some extent really what critical thinking is about. Okay, student learning outcomes. What the heck are you going to be doing once you're done with this course? 3 main things. Number 1, you're going to analyze arguments and components of arguments. It's going to be like a puzzle. If you put the pieces in together properly, you're going to get the whole picture and it'll make sense. If your argument doesn't fit with everything else, right? If it's not congruous, if you're trying to shove a square peg into a round hole, it's not going to work. So we're going to learn a style of thinking called argumentation, and we're going to learn about the components of arguments, premises and conclusions, and the relationships between them. You are going to learn about different kinds of reasoning. There are lots of different kinds of reasoning, but we're going to study inductive and deductive. And again, you don't know what that is yet, but you will. And then lastly, we're going to look at evaluating inductive arguments for strength, cogency, and or the presence of fallacies in speech or text. What does that mean? We're going to look at people making mistakes when they're trying to make a point. And people will make the same mistakes over and over again in their thought. And they do it so often that they call them fallacies because they happen all the time and they give all sorts of different names for them. Again, that may be Greek to you or Chinese if you speak Greek or whatever. But that's what we're going to be covering in this course. We're just going to do so in a fun way. We're going to do so by looking at some cool topics, which I'll cover below. Quick little side note here. We want to get away from groupthink. We want to get away from doing things because everyone's doing them, doing things because they are a habit and so forth. And we want to start to think for ourselves. Ooh, Roswell. Okay, so you see the alien here. If you're not familiar with Roswell, then hold on a second. Okay, Roswell. In 1947, in New Mexico, a number of witnesses claimed to have seen a flying saucer crash to the ground, and people claim to have seen wreckage and used technology from this wreckage in order to create all kinds of marvelous new forms of technology. It's kind of an American story, right? And we're going to look at that, and we're going to look at it from the framework of our learning outcomes. So what reasons do we have for believing this is true? Are there any fallacies committed by people who are making these claims? Who has the burden of proof in something like this? So it's just a fun way to fulfill the outcomes of this course. You could teach this course about politics or history or almost anything. But because its subject matter is reasoning, sometimes it's fun to look at cases where our reasoning is sort of pushed to the limit, right? This is an extraordinary claim that aliens crashed to the Earth. So we want to look at how to reason in those circumstances so we know how to reason in other ones. We'll also cover a little bit of psychics, so that's kind of fun. We'll study perception and how people perceive things and how that perception then impacts belief. We'll cover memories, and last I checked, memories weren't very good, but I forget. I'm just joking. It's a little joke. And the last governing little quote before we get to the meat of the syllabus, control your mind or someone else will. Look, whether it's sales, someone's trying to sell you something you don't need, or whether it's you're making a decision regarding health insurance coverage or your career. Your mind has a good way of fooling yourself. And unless you know that, you won't be able to avoid that kind of a pitfall. So control your mind or someone else will. Okay. I've given you a little overview of the course here. We've talked about the outcomes. I want to talk just briefly about the text, Jonathan Smith's Pseudoscience and Extraordinary Claims of the Paranormal. Here is the ISBN number. You will need this course. You will need this book for this course, without a doubt. I give you 2 weeks to get the book, and then after that, I can't afford any other delays, and frankly, neither can you. We cover about 3 weeks worth of material a week, and I strain it as long as I can to afford you guys to get the book. But if it is the third week and you are still waiting for the shipment from, Indonesia or something, there's just not a lot I can do. So you're going to need to get the book. You can get it online very, very reasonably, sort of electronic copies of it and so forth. Okay, grading policy. This is just Long Beach City College's policy. It's just a straight, no plus or minus, just a straightaway letter grade. Importantly, you need to contact me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Although of these three, Twitter is the best to catch me. I look at Facebook, but not super regularly. I'm also available by email, which I'll have down here. Here we are. rvitt@lbcc.edu. Office location, remember, this is going to be all online, so you will never have to go to my office. I won't be there, but you can email me, and I'm available. So these office hours are not valid for the summer session. And let me see. Okay, here we are. You will need internet access for the course, obviously, and you've got it if you can hear my voice. I'm going to assume that your current email with Moodle is your correct email. So don't use your father's, or your brother's, or your sister's. Use that one email. And then lastly, academic integrity and plagiarism. I cannot sit there and look at who's clicking on a mouse or typing in the keyboard. But by enrolling in this course and participating, you are certifying that it is you taking this course, and you are not using someone else's work to do it. What follows are a series of student resources that I highly encourage you to review. Student Success Center is amazing. It's really worth your time if you look. I am always trying to get people to draft and read things that I write, because when someone else looks at your paper, they can point out things to you that you don't see. And I've been writing forever. So the same thing would be true for you guys. I mean, it never hurts to have another pair of eyes look at your paper. And the only way to get better at writing is just to continue to do it that way, is to receive critiques and feedback. Next, access services. It's a wonderful thing, and I encourage you guys to take advantage of those. We have a really nice Veterans Affairs office at Long Beach City College. If you are a vet, I really encourage you to make contact there. It's just another good resource. And if you are a veteran, thank you for your service. Much appreciated. I live under the shade that your service provided, and I am super grateful for it. So thank you, and I appreciate what you've done for the country. Career and Job Services Center. I have a friend who paid over $1,000 to get his resume reviewed. He's an attorney, and that's a lot of money, and people pay all the time to have their resume reviewed. But you can go into the Career and Job Services Center, and they can help you with that without paying that amount. I don't know many people who are super duper exquisitely happy with their job at the moment. If you're not, or you're looking for a job, or you need some direction, I would encourage you to avail yourself of those resources. Okay, assignments. So the series of assignments that are going to follow are going to be tentative, meaning they can change. I will not change them to shorten any deadlines you have, but I might do it to extend them, right? So I would only do that if it's in your best interest, but I reserve the right to do that. There are no makeup assignments for this course. Once a module closes, then it is closed forever, and there is no makeup. So make sure you are logging in regularly. That is very important with this course. Discipline policy and online decorum. Look, we are all different people with different lives and different experiences and different viewpoints, and we all have something that's of value and something to share. And, you can tell someone, look, I don't think your argument for the existence of Atlantis is a very good one. That would be fine. But you can't say, in a discussion board, something like, and you're stupid, right? Or, great point, you're so dumb you have to study for a blood test or something like that. That's just a personal attack. It has nothing to do with the issue, right? If anything, you're conceding that you don't have anything to say because all you can do is insult someone. So maintain that decorum. Understand that you're a complex person with all the things that have happened to you. You have a certain way of looking at the world, and so do other people in the course. One thing I didn't get to, and I'm wondering where the heck it is here. I'm hoping I got to it. I didn't. Okay, this is most important. Your course grade doesn't depend on what you believe. We talk about ghosts, and we talk about mysteries. We talk about, the Bermuda Triangle or flying saucers or something like that. I don't need to know what you believe. What I need to know is why you think the way you do. So in that sense, I don't care what you think, but I care how you think. I've had students who, they just believe in Bigfoot and they think it's going to happen, and it's great. They get an A, right? And I get people who don't believe in Bigfoot. They say it's never going to happen, and they can get an A too. I've had students all across the board, right, believe in all different sorts of things and do super well. I will never penalize you for your opinion, but I will mark you according to how well you argue for things, the extent to which you're able to differentiate what type of fallacy is going on, and so forth. But I don't need you to not believe or believe in anything. Okay. Here we are. Oh, spelling, grammar, and punctuation always count for or against your grade. If you are emailing a professor or you are writing a paper for a professor, make sure that your capitalization is correct and your spelling is right. Just as in real life, people judge you on the way that you look, right? For better or for worse. People will judge you on how you write. And so you will write how you're used to writing. So I encourage you to get into the habit of writing complete sentences and following rules of grammar and so forth. Okay, last thing, class schedule. Let's do it. First week, we have one lecture and one exam. 2 lectures and one exam. You have the Critical Thinker Toolkit and the course outline and exam 1. So that's due by June the 27th at midnight. Then the next block of time, the 27th to the 5th, you only have one lecture and one exam. And that's obviously you have July the 4th there, so you're going to have one exam that week. Then from July the 5th through the 18th, so that's almost 2 weeks, you're going to have 2 exams and a paper due. So you're going to come back from that July the 4th sort of holiday, and you're going to, boom, be slammed with a paper. So I encourage you, I'll try to get the paper assignments out earlier, but I encourage you guys, this is a good example of this course is a lot of work. And if you don't have the time to commit to the course, then you should relinquish your spot so that another student could have it. Lastly, then the next week we'll do Chapter 6, Exam 5, Chapter 7, Perceptual Error and Trickery. That will be Exam 6. Chapter 8 will be Memory Errors and Exam 7. So you'll do Exam 7 by the 20th, but your presentation must be due by August the 12th. that's the rough outline of the course. It's from June to August. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, maybe something I didn't cover here, maybe something you can't understand what I'm saying, please email me and let me know. Like I said, I love what I do, and I think it's a fantastic thing. And you will never bother me if you email me. If you email me, I'm going to be happy to hear from you. Okay. I look forward to seeing you guys in there, and great job with your first video.